You picked up your phone today before you even got out of bed. Maybe before you opened your eyes, before you spoke a word to another human being, before you ate, before you let a single thought of your own settle into your mind, you reached for it, and you probably did not notice you were doing it. That is not a coincidence. That is not a character flaw. That is a machine, built over millions of years by evolution, being hijacked by a device that arrived 11 minutes ago in the timeline of human history, and by the end of this you will never look at your phone the same way again. Here is what your brain actually is. It is not a rational thinking organ wrapped in a modern skull. It is a survival machine so ancient that most of it was fully formed before your ancestors had language, before they had fire, before they had anything resembling civilization. The outer layer, the prefrontal cortex, the part that plans and reflects and makes choices, that arrived late. Underneath it lives something much older, something that is still scanning for threats, still listening for movement in the grass, still desperate to know what everyone else in the group is doing, because for 99% of human history, being left out of the group meant death. That part of your brain does not know what a smartphone is, but it knows exactly how to use one. In 2012, neuroscientist Wolfram Schultz published work that helped explain what happens in your brain the moment you feel your phone vibrate. The dopamine system fires, not when you get the reward, before, in anticipation. Your brain releases dopamine in response to the possibility of a reward, not the reward itself. This is the same system that drove your ancestors to follow animal tracks through the forest, to keep hunting even when they were exhausted, to scan the horizon one more time. Schultz found that dopamine spikes hardest when the reward is unpredictable, when sometimes you find the prey and sometimes you do not. That uncertainty is the fuel. That is why a slot machine is more addictive than a vending machine. A vending machine always gives you what you paid for. A slot machine gives you a maybe. Your phone is a slot machine in your pocket. Think about what you are actually doing when you check it. You do not know what you will find. Maybe a message that matters, maybe nothing, maybe something funny, maybe something that makes your stomach drop. The uncertainty is not a flaw in the system. The uncertainty is the system. And your dopamine pathway, which evolved to keep you alive by pursuing unpredictable rewards, cannot tell the difference between following a trail of footprints through an ancient forest and scrolling through a feed at 2 in the morning. But dopamine is only half the story. Your brain is also a social organ, one of the most socially dependent creatures on Earth. Evolutionary anthropologist Robin Dunbar spent decades studying the size of the human neocortex relative to group size across primates, and what he found became known as the social brain hypothesis. The human brain grew large, Dunbar argued, not primarily to solve math problems or build tools, but to manage the complexity of living in social groups, to track relationships, to know who trusts whom, to sense shifts in status, to monitor who is angry, who is happy, who might betray you. That work required enormous computational power, and so your brain developed it. In ancient hunter-gatherer bands, your group was everything. A group of roughly 150 people, now called Dunbar's number, was the limit of meaningful social tracking your brain could handle. Everyone knew everyone. Social standing was survival. Being seen mattered. Being valued mattered. Being rejected could mean exile, and exile could mean death. Your nervous system learned to treat social signals like oxygen. Now ask yourself, what does every notification on your phone represent? A social signal. A like is a signal that you were seen. A comment is a signal that you matter. A share is a signal that your ideas have value within the group. A message ignored is a signal that you might be drifting from the pack. Your ancient social brain does not see a small red number on an app. It sees the equivalent of a member of your tribe walking past without making eye contact, or stopping to tell you your idea changed how they think. These are not small things to the part of your brain that kept your species alive. They are the most important things in the world, and the phone delivers them constantly, unpredictably, at any moment of the day. Psychologist B.J. Fogg at Stanford University has spent years studying what he calls persuasive technology, Systems designed not just to be used, but to change behavior. What Fogg and his students found was that the most effective persuasive systems do three things simultaneously. They trigger a behavior at exactly the right moment of motivation, they make the behavior easy to complete, and they provide a reward that reinforces repetition. Your phone does all three with extraordinary precision. The notification arrives when you are already slightly bored, slightly anxious, slightly disconnected. The action required to get the reward is as simple as a thumb movement. And the reward, that rush of social signal, that possibility of connection or validation, is delivered in under a second. This was not an accident. The people who designed the notification systems, the feed algorithms, the like buttons, many of them knew exactly what they were building. In 2017, former Google design ethicist Tristan Harris described the attention economy as a race to the bottom of the brainstem, in which the most successful apps are the ones that most effectively hijack your most primitive impulses. He called it the most sophisticated technology ever built, aimed directly at your weakest evolutionary points. Because your brain was not built for this environment. It was built for an environment where information was scarce, where social signals came slowly, where a day might pass with only a handful of meaningful interactions. When social information was rare, the impulse to seek it made you sharper, more connected, more alive to what was happening in your group. That impulse kept you safe. In an environment where social information is infinite and arrives continuously, that same impulse eats you alive. You check your phone not because you are weak. You check it because every check is a vote, cast by a nervous system that believes, at its most ancient level, that staying connected to the group is the difference between surviving and dying. The behavior that kept your ancestors alive is being exploited at scale by systems designed to extract your attention and sell it. And here is the counterintuitive twist that changes everything. The more you check, the worse the social feeling gets. Research from the University of Pennsylvania, published in 2018 by psychologist Melissa Hunt, found that reducing social media use to 30 minutes per day significantly reduced loneliness and depression in young adults. Not because the content changed, but because compulsive checking is not actually connection. It is a simulation of connection, a shadow of the thing your brain actually needs. Your dopamine system craves the hunt, but the hunt is not the meal. Endlessly checking for social signals is not the same as actually being in relationship with another person. Your ancient brain cannot always tell the difference in the moment, but your body knows over time, and it tells you, in the form of exhaustion and emptiness, that something is wrong. Your ancestors did not check in with the tribe every 4 minutes. They lived with them. They sat with them around fires. They watched each other's faces in real time, felt the warmth of actual proximity, heard laughter that vibrated in the air between bodies. That is what your nervous system was built for. Not the signal that it happened, the actual thing. So tonight, when you reach for your phone before you have finished a single thought of your own, you will know what is actually happening. A system built 2 million years ago is reaching for the tribe, for the signal that you belong, for the possibility, unpredictable, irresistible, that something in the social world has shifted and you need to know. You are not addicted to your phone. You are addicted to the oldest feeling a human being can have, the need to know that the group still knows your name. And the next time you pick it up before you even open your eyes, you will not be looking at a screen. You will be reaching for the fire.